Okay, now I'm going to EQ a kick in a nice standard way. It's going to be different for everybody's recording, and it's going to be different for every kick you ever record, but this is a little good bit of guidance anyway. So we've got our limiter still sat there. I'm going to get I'm going to get EQ up. I left a little gap there, and actually I want my EQ below the limiter. So whatever chain I do this in is the chain that I would suggest. Some people do compression next. A lot of people would tell you to do that. I don't personally, but again, it's up to you, and I'll show you later how you can kind of switch them around and just see which one's better. Now, I'm going to get the channel EQ open, and we'll play a bit of the track. Now, very quickly, here's a little guide, a good guide on how to do this. First, I'm going to take one of the... In fact, first, I'm going to do a low cut, which seems a bit weird, but I'm going to do a low cut below 50. No, I'm not. I'm going to do it 45. Seems a bit weird when you're looking at a kick drum to cut the low bass. But basically, anything below 50 hertz, unless you've got a real super bass and you want sub bass and all this, usually anything below 50 is probably just noise anyway. It's probably just rumble and vibration, which you don't really want. And it actually tightens things up a bit to cut stuff off below about 50 hertz. Then I'm going to take a band, one of the bands. I'll take the 200 hertz band. Now, depending on what kind of kick sound you like, I like to boost around about 90 hertz. Again, it depends on the kick. So I'll boost it just quite high. That shows you what the 90 hertz sound is a bit like. Now this is well too much. So sweep it around a bit and just see which bit is the real juicy bit. A lot of people like about 100, sometimes 120. And so you switch, you know, around about 100, nice bit of impact. Now 90, maybe 80. That's a real, you know, real slap you in the chest kind of area. But yeah, as a basic idea, I'm going to go 90. Now, I don't want that much at all. Probably 5 or 6 dB is probably the maximum you want. You don't want to go too crazy on this, especially because later I'm actually going to put some EQ on the bus anyway. But, you know, little squeeze at about 90. Now, that's cool. Now, also, second thing about a kick and EQ. Usually, or often, you get a kind of boxy area around about 500 hertz. Now, I'm going to boost 500. Now, you know, that boxiness I was talking about is because it sounds a little bit like you're hitting a cardboard box. I'm going to sweep around to really try and find the center of it. Sometimes it goes up to about 700, sometimes it's down about 300. Some people like to take about 300 hertz off. You can try that. Anyway, I'm just going to do this. Like I say, some people dislike that area, 300 hertz. For me anyway though, that area is the kind of boxy area for me. So I'm going to, now I've found it, take it down a bit. Nothing too extreme. A lot of people will then just go, whoa, you know, get rid of all that. That can end up making your kick sound a little bit hollow. Like all the mid-range is gone and it just sounds like not a real kick, and it's, you know, I think you don't want to get rid of too much of it. Maybe a 3 dB cut, maybe 4. And again, keep AB in. Like I say, keep AB in, flicking it on and off to see if you've actually made any difference and it sounds any better. Right, I'm going to leave that there. Now, final thing I usually do is a bit of a presence boost around about 3K. So I'm going to take this band. Sounds weird. It seems weird to be kind of boosting the treble end of a kick, but that's the kind of beta sound, the sound that's actually going to make it cut through the mix, and not just get lost as a low, bassy rumble kind of sound. So I'll sweep around. That, for me, around about there is. Sometimes a bit lower. Yeah. So, again, much too ridiculous this, so you only want about 5 or 6 maybe. Now, like I say, Keep A/B in it. That's no EQ. One of the good things as well is to do it in the mix. Now the only problem is it's a bit deceptive here because of course the EQ is going to add a load of volume, so it jumps through and then you think, oh, that sounds better. So let's just, I'll play this. Now really, so you have to reduce the volume, obviously, because you've boosted the volume with EQ. So you're going to need to reduce it a little bit. Now that's sounding pretty cool to me. It might need a few tweaks later, but it sounds alright at the moment. Down a little bit more. Okay, cool. So that's that part.